We have more civil unrest in Chicago. Some are saying it's because of misinformation. There's also a situation that just happened in Santa Clarita, also because of potentially misinformation. But before we do any of that, I gotta drop the intro one time.
I don't need nothing else. Every time I'm with you, yo, it's something else. It's a fact, and it's nothing else. Got your hand out, you don't even need the help. Ooh, I don't need nothing else. Every time I'm with you, yo, it's something else. It's a fact, and it's nothing else. Got your hand out, you don't even need the help. Ooh, that's right. I don't need nothing else. That's right.
King's Dream Entertainment.
I woke up to a whole lot going on, going to sleep, waking up to a whole lot going on. And man, I just kind of wanted to give my thoughts on some of this kind of stuff. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. You guys like the new little graphic, and the notification button. Those help a ton. If you could do that for me, that would help us a ton as well. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Ruslan. I am a hip-hop artist, creative entrepreneur with KingsDreamENT.com. This channel exists to encourage, empower, inspire you to live out God's dream for your life. The home for those who are looking to live God's best for their life, those who are looking to defy the odds, the statistical anomalies, the outliers, and the politically agnostic. Glad you guys are here. Again, my name is Ruslan. You guys could be sure to follow me on Instagram, all that kind of good stuff. And again, let me know where you're watching this from, and we're going to get right into it. Try to bear with me, by the way. Those of you guys that kind of pull up and do this like combative thing, there's this feature in YouTube that is very sneaky and very low-key kind of mean. It's this feature I got called Hide, and what it does is it hides people, and it makes it so where their comments don't post on my channel and their chats don't post on my channel, but they don't know that, so they'll go on and continue in commenting and being combative, but all along they've been shut down, which I think is freaking hilarious. So I say all that to say, listen, you don't get to You get to be polite here. You get to be kind. You get to be gentle. You get to exhibit some fruit of the Spirit here and be polite to each other. And if you're not, then I love that button. And it just, people would just keep commenting and commenting and commenting and commenting, thinking that I'm just ignoring them when really I just stopped seeing it a while ago. Amazing feature. Shout out to YouTube. So I say all that to say, be polite in the comments. Be polite in the chat. All that kind of stuff. And should I demonstrate? I think I'll demonstrate right now. Watch this, guys. My narrative. Indeed it is. Goodbye, Mr. Peter. You are officially hidden. And watch, Peter's going to come back from a different channel and try to say something else slick, and then I'll have to block that channel. So it's very interesting because they allow him to keep seeing my stuff, but they don't allow him to be public in the chat. Hilarious. I love YouTube for that. I don't listen, guys. I don't have a ton of time to deal with the shenanigans. I'm hoping to propel you guys and help propel us each other that yes, we're in an election year. Yes, there's a lot of drama. Don't worry, it'll all be over after November, most likely. It always is. But there's a lot of drama. And I don't put my faith in politics, hence the politically agnostic t-shirt, which, by the way, you guys could go pick up right now. It's only $22. Politically agnostic t-shirt, Yeshua's Dream. Those are available. Of course, the John Keith vinyl. You guys go pick that up. But, guys, if I thought politics was the answer, I would be a politician. So I'm really attempting to approach this and understand the nuance of both sides and to hopefully help some of you guys see through the drama and the shenanigans. Because there's shenanigans on both sides. I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative. It doesn't really matter. I'm none of the above. I'm kind of all over the spectrum on a case-by-case basis. But we're going to be getting into this. So obviously there's been this whole defund the police issue. It's flaring up again this weekend all over the country, specifically two different situations in Chicago and in Santa Clarita, California. I'm going to just give you guys a brief recap on what happened and what's consistently happening, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on it, and you could take it or leave it. Basically, apparently in Chicago, we had a situation where a young black man was shot by police, and the reports in the neighborhood in the south side of Chicago came out that it was a teenager, it was a kid. That was some misinformation. Apparently, what the police are saying is, hey, this guy was shooting at police, and they fired back at him. They injured him. This almost popped off all in the south side of Chicago. Huge police presence, as you guys could see. And they, the community was really up in arms, really upset. And this is this escalated rather quickly. Now they're saying that this may have escalated because the police were being aggressive, or this may have escalated because the residents were being aggressive. I don't know. Probably a combination of both. That's usually how these things go. It's summertime. Everybody knows that the summertime, especially in the south side of Chicago, not everybody, but people who are familiar with the area know the summertime in Chicago gets very violent. People, just something about the temperature, the weather, it just gets really kind of nasty out there, and violence erupts. It gets wild. Crime goes up. Murders go up. This stuff happens. So apparently this happens. The police react. They show up with the presence. You have some community activists that are trying to defuse the situation. And that happens in the afternoon. This is yesterday, I believe. That happens in the afternoon. Now, fast forward to early tonight, you have just full on looting and rioting in Chicago that was potentially escalated by this situation in the south side. This is wild. They're running in to I think they ran into the mall downtown Chicago. They had to bring up the levees. Goodness gracious, this is a mess, right? This is a mess, and it was just wild, like the whole thing. And so now you have Chicago. I'll show you guys some of the pictures. They broke into a Tesla store. More than 100 arrested in Chicago amid unrest and looting following a police-involved shooting. So this is how these things escalate, man. They start out with someone gets shot by a police officer. They think, the misinformation is that it's a kid. Come to find out it's somebody in their late teens, early 20s. He shot at them first. They haven't released the body cam footage yet. We'll see what happens. You have one group of the population that's not viewing this in a per incident basis. They're viewing it in the macro sense. They're viewing it in light of all the other civil unrest. And you have the police who are probably on edge as it is, trying not to shoot anybody. I would assume if you're a cop right now, this is not a good time to shoot anybody, right? Just considering all that's going on. And you have the police who are already facing cutbacks, already facing the defund the police movement, doing their best. And you know what this position's for? I'm going to tell you guys what this position's for. These shenanigans is going to position for some degree, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but some degree for these federal officers to come in and to, I guess, settle down with the civil unrest. Now, the mayor of Chicago has already said she doesn't want the federal police to come in. This has already been happening in Portland, as you guys have seen. Unmarked police cars snatching up protesters. Are they violent? Are they not violent? I don't know. I think the majority of these protests are, I feel like, being escalated by Antifa and anybody that's doing this stuff in the name of Black Lives Matter, which is about social injustice and trying to alleviate police brutality. People are doing this are honestly just opportunist. I'll tell you guys from my personal experience that protests I've been to have been overwhelmingly positive, overwhelmingly violent free. It's something that I would take my family to. But this is something else. What's happening here is something else. And maybe it is because it's summertime. I don't know. But I'm telling you what's going to happen is this is going to escalate to the point where you're going to get the federal guard. They're going to get shipped in. Whether or not that goes good or bad, I don't know. I don't know if the federal police going into Chicago is going to be a good thing or not. The mayor and everybody else is saying they don't want it. But Trump is saying they're going to send him in. I don't know. This is what I do know. If we're talking about who's in charge in these areas, specifically in Chicago, it's predominantly Democratic elected officials who, for whatever reason, haven't seemed to figure out how to get this thing to settle down. Right now, I'm not anti-Democrat. I'm not anti-Republican. But that just goes to show that, man, you can have progressives and liberal policies and still not be able to figure out how to decrease crime, how to decrease poverty, how to decrease the wealth gap, the inequality gap. So I don't know, but I'm figuring that this will probably unfortunately escalate, and they will send in some type of National Guard. Trump's already been threatening it. I mean, and a wild part is, like, you look at the majority of these police, and they are a lot of these police chiefs are black. The mayor is black, right? This is some wild stuff right now. Here, I think, I don't know what's going on. I wasn't on the ground. I don't know if the kid shot at the police, or the teenager shot at the police, or the police shot at him first. Apparently, he had a gun. Apparently, he shot at them. They shot him. They injured him. He didn't die. This caused more protests, because they're not protests anymore, right? They are this is just flat out looting. It's wrong. It's dumb. It's stupid. Anybody thinks this looting is cool because we have to dismantle the system of capitalism or whatever, it's nonsense. This stuff is not dope. When it comes to the issues of abolishing the police, that's not a good idea. Okay, guys, this is not a good idea. I'm going to give you guys a Bible verse to kind of tie this in here in a second. But goodness gracious, that is not a good idea right now, in my opinion. I don't think we need to be abolishing police. These are not good situations, right? There's been one case that I've looked at in Camden, New Jersey, where they have abolished the police, but they abolished the local police department and had the sheriff come in and rebuild it. Something similar happened with the LAPD stepping in and taking over Compton PD, and they abolished Compton PD, and then LAPD absorbed that police department. And they have shown that to work, but to abolish or to defund the police, I think is going to be very, very problematic, right? And I don't know how they're going to hold these situations accountable. And you could see this escalating to federal troops on the ground, which wouldn't be good if they're going to act like the same way local police act. I don't know the ins and outs of everything that's going on politically. I have friends that do ministry on the south side of Chicago. And it's a complicated, multi-layered, multi-generational issue. I don't think the solution is defund the police in these situations. I think that what we need to do is possibly abolish and defund the police are two separate ideas. You were right. I don't think we need to abolish the police. Period. I don't think that's a good idea. Do we need to reappropriate some of the funds for mental health cause and so on and so forth? Probably. You guys could go see my video about that. I think the overall bigger solution is community policing, is policing where, look up Jocko on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's a Navy SEAL, and he talked about the way they went into overseas countries. They built rapport with people. They didn't just run through there with military presence. And I think there needs to be some more of that. Now, this isn't going to play out well. And the federal presence of police, I don't know how that's going to go, right? If they're like the local police, that may not go so good. But if the federal police are, better trained in de-escalation, are approaching it like a reconnaissance missions, like the way Jocko talked about the Navy SEALs doing in Afghanistan and all that kind of stuff, the establishing police rapport. If that's what the federal police do, and it actually creates law and order, that may be a good thing. Something to consider. Those of you guys that are anti-police. In New York City, I remember my first couple times in New York, I would go to New York and I'd go to parts of Brooklyn, and it was a lot of crime, a lot of poverty. And once they started building the Barclays Center and they wanted to clean up Brooklyn, all of a sudden there became more and more police in Brooklyn, all over New York, but specifically in Brooklyn. And what happened was crime went down. And I mean, there would be a cop or two on every block just posted up, right? And I remember getting out of a hotel, walk through, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. And it decreased the crime, and it increased the property values, and it brought violence up. Brought violence down and brought businesses up. And a lot of people who own brownstones and buildings and property in Brooklyn became millionaires in a matter of years. Those people that owned property. Those people that didn't own property, unfortunately, started getting pushed out if they didn't have rent-controlled apartments. And it gentrified a lot of Brooklyn. We could see the same type of thing happen in Chicago with regards to the south side of Chicago if there's a militarized police presence. I don't know how this is going to play out. I'm going to try and tie this in here in a second, but another situation happened in Santa Clarita where I saw this all over social media. Now, this is just like a wild image, right? This is a wild image of a police officer apparently pointing what, this, I don't know if there's an AR-15. I'm not the biggest gun expert, but we'll talk about guns in a second. At three young black teenagers who called the police because they were being harassed and attacked by a homeless man. They called a homeless man. I mean, the homeless man tried to come after them, and the police were called. And somebody apparently also called the police and said that they were the ones attacking the homeless man. Police show up, draw guns on these 3 black men. This is wild. This is Santa Clarita. This is in California, right? So this is happening. These kids, these are kids. These are teenagers, right? And again, misinformation, miscommunication, right? It sounds like, by all accounts, they were the ones that called the police. Multiple witnesses said that these kids were getting attacked by this homeless man. He had a knife, and they get guns drawn on them. They get guns drawn on them. That's a freaking mess, right? That is a freaking mess, and it's not okay. Like, this is not okay to pull up and draw guns on teenagers. You could say, hey, we don't know what was going on. We don't know what was happening. But goodness gracious, man, I don't think this is just how you deal with kids. I don't think this is how you deal with kids. You know what I mean? So I see you guys in the chat. Shout out to everybody watching this live. Let me know where you're watching this from. Give this video a quick thumbs up if you can. I'm going to try to keep up with some of your guys' comments. I'm from Chicago, and whether leadership was Democrat or Republican, the state has been corrupted since the 1950s. I mean, corruption is a big deal, right? And in politics, outside of politics, Democrats and Republicans work together and really are an antagonist when the cameras are on. I think the answer is pretty easy. Invest in the people, reform education, get rid of the black site prison in Chicago, stop shipping guns to the south side of Chicago. Yeah, it's yes, all of that, but you also got to restore some type of law and order. You also got to make these communities feel safe, right? There's years where there's more people that die in Chicago than die overseas at war. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. And I don't think just a social program is going to do that. I think you do have to create some type of law and order. It's just, this ain't the type of law and order. Like, pulling up on kids with guns is not how you do this, right? This is not it. This is not it. How is it on the south side of Chicago? My man Chosen one said he's from the south side, right here on the south side as we speak. How is it going there? Because it seems like it's wild. Like, it's, and again, how much of the media is exaggerating this stuff, right? So this is my thoughts. And you guys may not like me after I say this, but I live in Chicago. The liberal politics have done a great job of swaying the black vote by policies that do not actually help conserve the south side or the west side. That's a great point, man. That's a great point. That's a great point. I think if you look at a lot of these policies that are intended to help, they don't seem to really help from the outside looking in. Again, I'm not on the ground, but when you're looking at these policies, whether or not they are meant well, intended from a good place, they don't always help people, right? Issues get exaggerated. Some of it is bad, but the media makes it seem like a war zone. Yeah, obviously it's not a literal war zone. But it is. I mean, you got a lot of murder going on there, right? And when New York was similar, and again, I'm not saying this is right, but when New York was in a similar place, they used law enforcement and they created some degree of law and order. That's what happened in New York. And now crime is back up, but I'm talking about when they really, really brought crime down. And it was with some sketchy policies, man. Stop and frisk is a very, very sketchy policy. It's racial policy, right? But they got crime way down. Businesses came back, and property values went way up. I saw this happen in Brooklyn in real time. That's unfortunate. Now, my man Lavoisier posted a Bible verse, and this was his verse, and I don't know, but this is what I'm doing, right? Because I don't think abolishing the police is a good idea. Defunding the police depends on how you define it. This is what I'm doing, right? Luke chapter 22, he said to them, but if you have a purse, take it, and also a bag. And if you don't have a sword, sell your cloak and buy one. Right? And this is when Jesus sent them out without a cloak and a bag the first time, and then he turned around and he sent out the disciples with a purse and a bag and told them to, if you have one, sell it, buy yourself a sword. Buy yourself a sword. my reaction to all this is, listen, I have never been a huge like gun nut, right? And by gun nut, I don't mean that in a derogatory term, but there's guns out there, and bad guys are going to break gun laws, right? And Chicago, to a lot of conservative points, Chicago has the strictest gun laws in America and the highest gun violence. Now, you can say that, well, it's because neighboring states are just shipping in all the guns. Maybe. I don't know, right? It wouldn't surprise me. But nonetheless, people who want guns don't follow gun laws. Bad guys are going to get guns in gun-free zones. So I am not in a space where I'm going to ship my responsibility to protect my family to anybody but me. That's my view in all this, right? So I bought a firearm, and I'm probably going to buy a bunch more, and I'm going to learn to shoot, right? Because if this stuff keeps going down this route, I'm not going to be in a spot where I have to call guys with guns to protect me if I could just own a gun. And I'm in California. You know, we have some rather restrictive gun laws. But that's my thought on this whole thing, man, is, yo, this stuff is wild. It's not going to get much better unless there's some serious change and both sides come together. You know what I'm saying? Both sides come together. And we just don't see that. Now, granted, again, it's an election year. A lot of this stuff is going to get sensationalized. And man, I don't know. I don't know how this is all going to play out. Granted, it's going to get exaggerated. But nevertheless, you know, there's a lot of crime out there right now. Crime is up. Crime is up. That's a fact. So check out some of you guys' comments. I don't agree to take away American history for the schools because of everything going on, but want to hear your thoughts. Which American history? I don't know. We got to explain American history. Gangs here notorious for shooting back. Plus, I live here. A lot of people forget that the war zone violence is mainly on the west side in Inglewood. Yeah, that's where that shooting happened, with the police-involved shooting was in Inglewood. Have you seen the type of guns they are getting in Chicago? The Chosen One, can you confirm that guns are being shipped in either by military or government? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the kind of guns they're getting. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know. I know you can do a lot of damage with a handgun. Are they getting Uzis? Are they getting, automatic military-grade firearms in the south side of Chicago, Dracos, and you know what I'm saying? Like they have some of that stuff in Atlanta, but a lot of those guns have been federally outlawed for a long time. We're talking about fully automatic weapons. Those have been federally outlawed for a long time. So if they're getting illegal guns, how are they getting? That's black market stuff, right? That's black market stuff, and that stuff you can get pinched for anywhere. So I'm gonna have some guns, man. I think that's what wisdom would be. I think that's what wisdom will be is, hey, listen, this stuff is wild. This stuff can escalate and become more and more dangerous. And I'm just not going to depend on anybody to protect my family but me. Right? Because you see this in Atlanta where their police are getting calls, not answering calls, right? This stuff is crazy, man. This stuff is crazy. And those of you guys that are on the south side of Chicago, you know better than I know what's going on. I'm just strictly reacting to it based on how this is being covered. And obviously Santa Clarita, I've been there. It's closer to where I'm at. But you just see escalation on both sides. Whose fault is it? I don't know. I think the media is spinning a lot of this. And exaggerating some of this. But I think, hey, it's an election year. This stuff is bad. Shout out to the Chosen One. I think he is out there in the south side of Chicago. He said, they did set the community up back in the day by having trains full of weapons, but majority of the guns come from connects from other states or cheap ones from Mexico. I feel bad for you guys that are there and these guys have guns, illegal guns, right? Because guns are just about completely outlawed in the south side of Chicago, the strictest gun laws in America. And you have and good people can't get guns. Like the good guys can't get guns. Whew, that's a mess. Because I would want someone like the Chosen One, who I'm assuming is a good law-abiding citizen, to have a firearm to protect his household, right? If it escalates. So, yeah, goodness gracious, man. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for hanging with me. If you want to partner with what we're doing, go pick up some merch. Consider joining our Patreon community, most talented community on all the internet, and give this video a like and a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell, because that helps a ton. That helps a ton. Leave a comment, all that good stuff. Appreciate you guys rocking with us, man. Really do. This is fun for me. Hopefully it's fun for you. Hopefully you got some value out of this. I know we went over a lot of different stuff. I'm not sure how many of you guys actually lasted the entire stream. But man, thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys.